good to know.
Okay, good evening. This work? Welcome to Summerland Council meeting for June 11th, 2018. Call the meeting to order. Could I have a motion to adopt the minutes of May 28th, special and regular council meetings? Councilor Barkwell, Councilor Traynor, all in favor? Carried. A public hearing, motion to adopt the public hearing report of May 28th. Councilor Traynor and Councilor Barkwell, all in favor? Carried. And adoption of the agenda. Any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, staff are recommending 2 amendments to the agenda, one of them being addition of a new item 3.2 to consider postponing the public hearing number 3 regarding the zoning text amendment for secondary suites and carriage houses to a later date due to new information received regarding a conflict between the bylaw or the proposed bylaw and OBWB policy, which could affect the district's eligibility for grant funding. So we're suggesting that be discussed as item 3.2. Further, we're suggesting adding item 12.5, which is the 2017 annual financial statements. An amendment.
Okay, motion to adopt the agenda as amended. Councilor Boot, Councilor Barkwell, all in favor? Carried. Okay, 3.2. You speak.
We'll turn 3.2. Mr. Condor, did you want to speak to this? Or?
Sure. Thank you very much. Regarding the public hearing for the secondary suite and carriage house bylaw, staff are recommending that the public hearing be postponed to a later date. New information has recently been brought to the attention of staff regarding Okanagan Basin Water Board policy. Staff requires some time to research and understand the OBWB policy, and that policy may result in amendments to the proposed bylaw. If any proposed amendments are required as a result of this policy at a future council meeting, staff will present the amendment to council and ask that a public hearing is rescheduled.
Any questions? No?
I'll bring forward a resolution to postpone the public hearing.
Okay, seconder. Councilor Boot, any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay. Number 4, public hearings. We have 2 public hearings now. So both public hearings are being held pursuant to Section 465 of the Local Government Act. During these public hearings, anyone who believes that his or her interests are affected by the proposed developments will be given a reasonable opportunity to be heard or to be present or to present written submissions respecting matters containing in the bylaws that are subject of these hearings. All information, correspondence, petitions, or reports that have been received concerning the subject bylaws have been made available to the public. Council may ask questions of staff and public, but once the public hearing is over, no new information can be received. Council debate on the bylaws will take place when the bylaws are considered after the conclusion of the public hearings. At that time, any questions of staff will be for clarification purposes only. I will be inviting the public to come forward and present their comments. Speakers are asked to state their name and address for the record. Speakers are encouraged to limit their remarks to 5 minutes and should include all of the relevant information in their presentation. Further opportunity will be afforded for all persons to speak a second or third time once all persons have had an opportunity to speak. I would now ask the Director of Development Services to introduce the first item.
Thank you very much. This is a public hearing for 8707 Tomlin Street. The application is to amend the official community plan to change the designation from low-density residential to medium-density residential and to rezone the property from RDH, which is the duplex zone, to RMD, which is a multifamily zone. If the amendments are approved, it will likely result in at least 1 duplex and 1 single detached house on the same property. Thank you.
Okay, Director of Corporate Services, have we received any correspondence regarding this?
Yes, we've just received one piece of correspondence from, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but Charmin Mori, at 8517 Tomlin Street. This person is in opposition to the proposed zoning amendments with a number of concerns about density, noise, and so forth. And every member of council has received a copy of this correspondence.
Okay, thank you. And I'm just wondering if the applicant is present who might want to speak to the...
Yes, we.
You want to speak? Please, sir, go ahead. Just come up to the podium.
Thank you. My name is George Giannotti. I'm acting as the agent for Mr. Tomlin. We have considered this application over the last 2 years approximately into trying to increase the density for additional dwellings on the property. It's quite a large property. There's a very large area on the east side of the existing duplex that's there. Unfortunately, it's not large enough that we can actually go for another duplex lot to facilitate additional dwelling units. So therefore, we applied for this RMD, which is medium density, to allow increased dwelling units. The original application, we had tried to put 3 more units on there. Unfortunately, they just don't fit with the parking requirements. And the topograph of the access off of Giants Head Road is virtually impossible due to the traffic and also the landscaping and the terrain. So therefore, we're applying for this just for an additional duplex in the space that is allowed, or that is created in the back of, on the east of the existing residence. And the building will look generally in the shape of a residential dwelling unit, which is right next door to this address of the existing duplex. So it'll virtually look like an existing residence. There's not any plans to demolish the current structure because it's already a duplex and there's a lot of value there. The object is just to build a 2-story building right next door to this residence. So it's in keeping with the surrounding buildings, and it won't be an apartment-style unit. But because of the number of units on the property, we have to go through this RMD zone, which normally you could put 4 stories on that site. But this is strictly for a 2-story building. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you. Is anybody in attendance who would like to present their views for the first time? Anybody in attendance like to present their views for a second time? And for the third time, anybody like to present their views? Okay. So I'd like to have a motion from council to adjourn the public hearing. Councilor Traynor, Councilor Barkwell, all in favor? Carried. Okay, so the second public hearing number 2, OCP and zoning amendment 2021 Highway 40. Mr. Planner?
Thank you very much. This is a public hearing for an application to amend the official community plan from open lands to agriculture and rezone the property at 20201 Highway 40 to A2, agricultural large acreage. This application is also to allow for a 15-unit campground on the property as a site-specific use. Prior to adoption of the amending bylaws, a restrictive covenant is proposed to be registered on the title of the subject lots in order to impose several conditions on the operation of the campground, which would include a maximum of 15 campsites, seasonal operation, no fire pits other than one central fire pit to be approved by the fire department, and the campsite units would be limited to RVs with self-contained washrooms unless washrooms were constructed that meet interior health regulations, and no camping longer than 30 days. Thank you.
Okay, now is the opportunity for, any correspondence received?
There's no correspondence received.
Okay, and now it's an opportunity for public input. Would anybody in attendance like to present their views for the first time? The applicant is here, they may go first.
I can speak.
It's up to you.
My name is Leanna Jewell, and I live at 20201 Highway 40, and this has been about a year and a half long coming, and I'm so glad nobody is opposing so far. And I just wanted to say our campground is very family-friendly, quiet, like Alex was saying, one central fire pit because we're scared of fires too. And I'm just really happy that hopefully this will go ahead finally, because I think that Summerland needs some affordable accommodation for families to come enjoy our beautiful town. So that's all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else in attendance like to present their views? For a second time, anybody in attendance like to present their views? And for a third time, would anybody like to present their views? No. Then may I have a motion from council to adjourn the public hearing? Councillor Traynor, Councillor Barclow, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Now, what do I have a motion to?
During that public hearing.
Okay.
No, you're good.
No, we're good.
Just move to
Yeah.
number 6 now.
Okay. All right, so that's the public hearings. Moving on, no delegations. So we'll move to number 6, the opportunity for the public to comment on anything that's highlighted on the agenda. So you can only speak to the highlighted items in 2 minutes per speaker. If anybody in the audience would like to speak to any agenda item, please step forward now. No? Okay, moving on. Mayor's report. There's no mayor's report today because there's no mayor. And number 8, CIO's report.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. Just a couple of things to report. One, I just wanted to mention again about the power outage that's scheduled for the morning of June the 17th. That's a Sunday morning, starting actually the midnight of the Saturday night, going until 6 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning. This is a scheduled outage that is required, FortisBC is required to do some work on the substations, and therefore, and it will affect all the properties in Summerland. We have talked about to Fortis with some people that or some properties that have had some extenuating circumstances given the time of year, and Fortis has been working very closely with them to accommodate during this outage. So if anybody is in that situation, they can be phoning Works and Utilities, and they can direct them to the contact person at FortisBC on that. So that'll be Sunday morning, June the 17th. The second one, which was disappointing news to the District of Summerland, is that we've been working very hard, multi-departments of staff have been working very hard on the implementation of the automated cart program, and we were just informed late Friday or early Friday that they're actually having a delay with the manufacturers of the carts, and therefore we can't meet our deadline, or we won't have the carts delivered here. They were supposed to start arriving this coming week, and they won't be coming until mid-July at best is the word that we have right now. And so we're going into Plan B, putting our recycling ambassadors who have been diligently working with the residents to get them all set up onto another project, and just waiting for some more information. And so there'll be some communication coming out in the next day or two, or next few days, to explain what's going to happen in between, and when, just exactly when we're expecting it. So we'll get that communication out on social media and a letter to each resident. Then thirdly and lastly, I did provide council with this document, which is a list of about 36 projects that are currently underway. we often talk about how busy and how many things are happening here, and that the staff each have a number of projects going on, from solar to the economic development to all the works and utilities to some of the administrative projects. So this is an attempt to summarize. It's difficult for us to keep council up to date sort of on some of the timelines, such as skate park, et cetera, because we're immersed in it all the time. So this may be a working document. We may need to update. I've already seen about 3 things that didn't make it onto the list that I would like to update council, but it is as much as we get updated as of today. So there's copies, council has a copy, and there's copies at the back as well. And I think that is good for my report for today.
Okay, thank you. Number 9, anything to bring forward? Believe so,
There
right?
is the committee of the whole resolution. Do you have that, Angela? Is that? My apologies.
Did we have any resolutions? Oh, for Giant's Head.
The Giants.
Yeah.
Rather important.
The Committee of the Whole recommends to Council to pass the following resolution. That the report titled Giants Head Mountain Trails Redevelopment Plan as submitted and presented by Bench Site Design on June 11, 2018 be received for information, and that staff be directed to move forward with the steps outlined in the Giants Head Mountain Trails Redevelopment Plan report dated June 6, 2018.
So just as a summary to that, it's, council did receive a presentation today on the Giant's Head. If you want a summary of that presentation, Lori could provide it. If not, you would just pass your resolution to, which was a recommendation this morning.
Do you want to bring that forward?
I'm just wondering, for the sake of the people in the gallery, maybe it would be nice to have a bit of a summary from our manager of recreation. Sorry, Lori.
Go for it.
Thank you. So at this morning's Committee of the Whole Council meeting, we had the consultants in attendance to present and submit the final Giants Head Mountain Trails redevelopment plan. As reported at the end of 2017, in partnership with the Summerland Rotary Club, the draft trails redevelopment plan and preliminary environmental assessment had been completed. After consultation with the local environmental professionals, it was recommended that a comprehensive environment assessment be completed during the spring before finalizing the draft trails redevelopment plan. So the environmental assessment did happen through the spring, and the plan is now complete and was updated accordingly. Funding is in place for phases 1 and 2 of the Giants Head Trail redevelopment plan in the amount of $725,000. Funding's coming through the BC Rural Dividend Fund of $435,000. The Summerland Rotary Club is confirmed at $100,000, and the remaining $190,000 is funded through the District of Summerland 2018 capital funds of gas tax. So once council receives this report, as it was presented this morning, staff will be looking at issuing an RFP for detailed design. That would be followed with a tender process for construction, and we're targeting construction to begin in September. Thank you.
Yeah, it's an exciting
Thank you.
project and worthy for such an iconic symbol of Summerland, I think. So, any discussion? We'll bring it forward. Anyone want to bring it forward? We do bring it forward and pass it, or do we've already passed it?
No, it was a recommendation. Now you do pass it
Okay.
as a resolution. So
Councillor
make the
Booth?
motion.
Yeah. Seconder? Councillor Carlson? All in favor? Carried. Okay, correspondence, any information items or minutes to, anybody wants to bring forward? No? Could I get a motion to receive the information? Councillor Barkwell, Councillor Boots, all in favor? Carried. Development Services Reports. Mr. Planner.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much. We received a development variance permit application for 10722 Ritchie Street. This is a development variance permit application to vary several sections of the zoning bylaw to reduce the front yard setback from Washington Avenue from 7 meters to 3 meters, allow for a dwelling for farm help to be located outside of the farm home plate, increase the number of bedrooms from 3 to 10, and increase the maximum gross floor area from 110 square meters to 312 square meters. The subject lot fronts Washington Avenue. There is an existing single-detached house on the site that is accessed from Ritchie Street. The proposed structure is on the opposite side of the property from the existing single-detached house, and therefore outside of the farm home plate. The purpose of this application is to allow for a 20-person work camp-type dwelling unit. This would consist of 5 ATCO-type structures connected to each other. The work camp is currently in storage, and the applicants have provided several pictures. According to the applicants, the farming operation needs housing for full-time workers, and the applicants are considering several sites to provide housing. A report from a professional agrologist has been provided in support of the application, confirming that the amount of farming taking place by the applicants requires this amount of housing. Thank you.
Okay, any questions? Councillor Barkwell?
Is this housing to be used seasonally, or are they require, people can be empty sometimes?
My understanding, the goal is for full-time help.
Full-time year-round?
That's correct.
Any further questions? Councillor Carlson?
When we look at the documents, there's Site 1, Site 2, and Site 3, and the one that is presented is Site 3. I'm just wondering if you can explain what's happening on Site 1 and 2 as well, just to make a complete picture.
Fair enough. So we've received an application for a development variance permit around Site 1 for another dwelling for farm help that will be presented to council at a future date. And I believe the applicants have purchased Site 2 as well, and they intend to try to place housing on that site as well. So the end result would be potentially housing on all 3 of those sites.
And is their intention, do you think, is to have temporary housing similar to the ATCO structures that we saw a minute ago?
We've only received the one application so far, and it has been basically one mobile type home, just one unit as opposed to 5 units.
Okay.
Okay, any discussion?
So we'll put it forward.
Bring it forward.
I would like to bring 11.1, points A, B, C, and D forward for approval as presented.
Seconder? Councillor Boot? Discussion? Councillor Carlson?
I think that it needs to be said that providing housing so that employees can work and live in our community is important, and providing economic activity and agricultural activity is also important, and we should be supporting a project like this, because otherwise it will become a lot more difficult to continue to farm right there. So I'm fully in favor of letting this go ahead.
Councillor Barkwell?
So maybe this is a question for our planner. If somebody in the industrial area needed workers, would they be able to put a manufactured home or 2 on the industrial land and supply housing that way?
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. The industrial zones in Summerland typically allow for employee housing, so they could put a dwelling on their industrial property for housing for an employee or for a caretaker.
But just one, not for 20?
It could be one dwelling. So one dwelling would typically be one kitchen and several bedrooms. I would have to think a little bit further about if they could do a fairly large dwelling of this comparable size, but they could do one dwelling to house multiple people.
Councillor Barkwell?
I was just doing some reading, and maybe I missed something. So the initial plan is to have one mobile home unit here for 2 people, but with the authorization under this to go up to 5 units?
So the application or consideration is to allow the 5 units on what's shown in Site 3 on this map. That's provided as part of the agrologist report that's been included in the council reports and is in the agenda. In addition to the 5 units, they also want to put 1 mobile unit around Site 1.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay.
And in the future, or sorry, Site 2 is what I'm hearing. And I believe they've got plans to try to do some type of housing on Site 1 as well, but it hasn't been finalized yet.
I'm not the only one with questions. Is there anything like this in Summerland already?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Go, Councillor Trainer.
Are these types of buildings subject to any kind of inspections at all? And if so, what kind?
As far as municipal inspections go, they'd be required to get a building permit.
Okay.
And we would inspect the building as part of the building permit process. That's the only inspection that I'm aware of that would take place on the building. I believe there's inspections that take place if a company subscribes to the foreign temporary worker program. I believe the applicants are considering that, but it's not under consideration at this exact moment, and it's not part of the variance application, or has nothing to do with the district's bylaws, to be clear.
Okay.
Okay, and just being informed that we have to have the opportunity for the public to comment on this. If anybody in the public wants to comment on specifically this variance application, they may.
Thank you. I'm George Giannotti. I'm acting as agents for the Mountain View Growers Farm Enterprises. This is a topic that's dear to my heart because this is my old neighborhood. And in fact, one of the houses that the Borden family in the midst of purchasing were my mom and dad's old house, which I grew up in. So it's nice to see that it's going to be well used. That would be site number 2, or the top, it's at the top, right, or second in from the Blair Street access. The one on the corner, which is it's a very old home, is the contemplated plan for that is to remove that structure and have a multiple unit modular home built on there. In modulars, the new ones now come in 2 stories. So it'll look like a 2-story house with a big roof with dormers on it. And that's just to try to keep it in keeping with some of the surrounding residential. That structure will be a permanent structure. It will be modular, but the foundation will be permanent. There is also a plan to bring in a mobile structure, which is 60 feet long, 14 feet wide, and that is on another location, which is in between the 2 sites. It's right next door to one of the homes that's owned by one of the brothers right now. And the only reason it's in that location, it's hidden from all the streets, and also it is next to services. And also it's not tying up any land that's associated with the silviculture. The reason that the family is directing their residential development or occupancy for workers along this avenue is that we also have an application to apply for sewer connections to the city sewer system. There's the need is for up between 60 and 70 workers accommodations on this farm. That's the current requirement for the next year. If the contracts keep coming the way the provincial government's issuing them, it could go bigger, but at this point, The need is for additional 70 on top of the current workers that can be made available locally. The unfortunate part about it is that the local workforce is disappearing. And so they have to reach out to foreign workers to bring in, to get the operations going. This is not the 20 worker building that you're hearing tonight is made up, it's a temporary structure. We don't know the term of this, but for now, it's on a piers, and that the eventuality is that if it's not needed anymore, it can easily be carted away, where the other two will be more permanent structures. They're on separate parcels, and so this way we're not tying up agricultural land for infinity. The other thing is that the location of this unit is right next to their facilities, where they can look after the workers properly. They can come and go quite easily on their breaks, and it's right beside their packing rooms, and also where all the seeding operations and going for all the trees. So this is very convenient. We've had to get a special QEP report to allow us to go to the within 12 meters of the creek that's there. The family has planted all the vegetation along the creek to keep that green space in its current state. They've maintained all those trees there. They've planted them all. And this is, unfortunately, that's why the variance, because we've had to keep the distance from the creek in order to maintain the riparian zone requirements. Other than that, that's about all I can tell you right now.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Barkwell, comments?
What sort of assurance that will we ever have that the people living in these residences are actually working at the farm?
A condition of the approval would be that the property owners enter into a restrictive covenant in respect for any dwelling for farm help, and the covenant would have to state that the dwelling can only be used for farm help.
Yeah, that doesn't really answer my question. I guess my question was more like, how do we have assurance that this covenant is being followed? Nobody's going to know whether the people there are working at that farm or working somewhere else or just staying there, or it just seems like it could be easily used for any purpose. There's no... Are you, Mr. Planner, aware of this sort of accommodation in other communities in the Okanagan?
As part of this application, I did do some research. What we found was that the city of Kelowna has this similar type of housing. They've got an agreement that they refer their applications directly to the Land Commission to get comment about the necessity or the fact that it's for farming. My understanding is that dwelling for farm help are allowed on any piece of ALR land as long as it truly is for farming.
Are you aware of any, not just, like, we have lots of places where there's an additional residence for 2 people or whatever, but, are there bunkhouse type with 20 workers year-round in other farming places?
Yeah, I'm not aware of any similar application.
Just a comment on that. It's my understanding that in the North Okanagan, at Coral Beach, they do have temporary foreign worker housing for hundreds of people in multiple sites as well, and it was quite an arduous process, but they did get to the point where they're now able to accommodate the employees they need. I'm not sure if any of them are there year-round, but I do know that they would be there for up to 8 months of the year. I think it's a really still a very valuable tool, and I'll still be in favor.
Yeah, my feeling is that, anybody can break the rules if they really want, and, it's, I think you give people the benefit of the doubt, and I think there's a need there. That's my view. Any other comments? We have motion on the table, call to order. Those in favor? Those opposed? Carried, 4-1. Okay. Staff reports, citizens on patrol.
I'll speak to that.
CAO.
Council, we put the letter that we've received from the Citizens on Patrol in the report to be received for information. We've talked, as council's aware, the committee is really governed by the RCMP. At this point in time, it's not a formal committee of council. I have a commitment from Sergeant Faulkner that after receiving the letter, that he's intending to continue discussions with committee as a whole, the Citizens on Patrol. He's going through a process right now where he is analyzing the activities that the Citizens on Patrol have carried out over the last few years. Some activities are perceived by the RCMP of having more value than others, and some of them extremely high value, and he thinks that there should be a shift. His intent is to meet with them further. He's had some meetings, and to provide the district with a report with recommendations on the next steps for them. Has been some issues with the vehicle. We had suggested that they share one of our building inspection vehicles, but that didn't work for the Citizens on Patrol that would like to keep their speed watch equipment in the vehicle. And we do provide insurance and maintenance on the vehicles. The RCMP have put in a request for a vehicle through the RCMP program, and they're second in line for that vehicle, so that is something that could be coming out pretty soon as well. So there's much more information to be received back from the RCMP, and that will come forward to council once we receive that from Sergeant Faulkner.
Thank you. Councillor Boot.
Thank you. If I could just ask a question of our CAO. In the letter that came from the Citizens on Patrol, it talks about the corporation requesting letters from the members outlining their years of participation and contributions to the program, and then they're not sure what became of that or even why the letters were requested. Do you know anything about that?
I think I believe that it came from the RCMP, that, from my understanding, it wasn't unless, we do have our community development coordinator was working with the Citizens on Patrol a little bit, and she was trying to understand their volunteer organization and their working. So I don't know for sure, but she may have asked for her own interest in putting together the package, either that or it was the RCMP, but it didn't formally come through my office.
Councillor Traynor.
Do the Citizens on Patrol and the RCMP meet regularly?
Yeah, it depends a little bit on the sergeant of the RCMP. The val is very much changes, and that's what Sergeant Faulkner is trying to formalize. It depends. They may meet regularly, they may not, and between communities, there's a huge difference on it. That's why Sergeant Faulkner has asked that he has the opportunity to finish his work with them first of all.
Okay, yeah, because it seems like it says in our report that they have met, but then in the letter, it seems like they are kind of maybe not on different pages, but they haven't talked a lot lately, so I think it would be really good if they met, and then they could come up with maybe new goals and kind of revamp what they're doing.
I think it's a bit of a complex situation that it's best for council to wait for a report from the RCMP, since they're the ones that work most closely with them.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that. I think it is a matter between Citizens on Patrol and the RCMP, but anything we can do to help facilitate it, that's I think that's the best role we can play. Anybody want to bring the motion forward? Go.
Bring the motion forward as written.
Okay,
To receive.
to receive it, yeah. And seconder, Councillor Boot, all in favor? Carried. Construction of the Summerland Skate Park.
I'll turn that over to Ms. Mullen.
Thank you. The request for proposals for the construction of the Summerland Skate Park closed on May 17th. The district received one proposal, and after the completion of the proposal evaluation, district staff confirmed the proposal met the RFP requirements. Staff are currently in negotiations with New Line Skate Parks and recommend awarding them a contract within the existing allocated budget for the construction of the skate park. The construction would begin the end of August with substantial completion by November 30th, 2018. Staff is seeking council approval to enter into an agreement with New Line Skate Parks to complete the construction of the Summerland Skate Park.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? No? No questions? Anybody want to bring the motion forward? Councillor Traynor?
Yeah, I'll bring the motion forward as presented.
Seconder? Councillor Carlson? Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay. Just people in the audience, if you want to speak, maybe if you just step outside because it's quite distracting for us here. We're trying to carry a meeting on. Thanks. 12.3, climate action. Tammy and Ms. Rothery.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. Councilors, as noted in your package, staff have completed the 2017 Climate Action Revenue Incentive Program report. We always complete a report for the previous year, so although it was completed in 2018, what we're reporting on is the emissions of the 2017 year. This report covers the fuel usage by all of the district-owned vehicles and equipment, as well as in all of our buildings. Some highlights from the report are that our total emissions were reduced in the 2017 year over 2016 by about 5%. However, you've seen that staff have noted that there was also a change in how some of the vehicles were reported due to a change from the province. Overall, we did reduce our fuel usage in our fleet vehicles. However, we used more natural gas in our buildings. We haven't had the opportunity yet to do a weather normalization analysis, that is to say, to see if temperatures had remained steady year over year rather than us having a pretty frosty winter last year, how that might have made the numbers turn out. But overall, we do feel that we're heading in the right direction in terms of our emissions. And that's my report.
Thank you. Any questions from council? Councillor Traynor?
I just have a quick question. How do you think we're actually reducing vehicle emissions? Or is it less trips or carpooling or?
This report looks exclusively at corporate-owned vehicles. And so some of the things that we believe led to our reduced fuel usage is improvements in our fleet. So that is that we were able to phase out some of our older, less efficient vehicles and to replace them with more efficient ones. We've also tried to do things like having staff do telephone calls and whatnot instead of having to drive up and down for meetings and things like that. Our smart car is being pretty heavily used, which is overall a little bit more efficient than some of our gasoline vehicles. So there's a few things that we think are contributing.
Do we have any bicycles in our fleet?
Not currently. However, we have received funding for a green fleet study that we're hoping to do in the fall or spring of 2019 that'll help us to further improve the performance of our fleet.
Excellent. Any other comments? Anybody want to bring the motion forward? Councillor Carlson?
I will move that the 2017 CARIP Climate Action Carbon Neutral Progress Survey be received for information.
Seconder, Councillor Traynor, all in favor? Carried. Okay, 12.4, Summerland landfill update.
So Council, Candace Pilling is going to be is our landfill manager, and I'm not so sure that everybody's met Candace yet, so she is going to present this, this update, but in case you haven't met Candace yet, she's been with us for about a month now?
Just hit the 2-month mark.
Oh, 2 months. Time flies.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. I would like to bring forward this report that the Summerland Landfill Update Report dated June 7th, 2018 be received for information. It is an update on some of the happenings that are going on within our Summerland landfill, such as the landfill liner expansion project that we have gone through recently. True Consulting was retained in August of 2017 to do its design to increase the area that we will be moving our landfill for filling. And in the spring of this year, we went out to tender, and the tender closed at the end of May. And Cantex Construction was our low bid, Cantex Okanagan Construction Limited, and construction is scheduled to take place late June to mid-August, at which point in time we will begin the filling of that Phase 4 liner section. Also, one of the other things that we have going on within the solid waste is the curbside collection program, as many of you know, and we are doing some updates to our bylaws, our fees and charges, and our solid waste management regulation bylaws. And our fees and charges amendment will be coming forward this evening in order to accommodate the fees and charges to be able to proceed with our curbside collection program. And there will be some changes as far as the tipping fees at the landfill itself to accommodate bringing the cost more in line with what it's costing us to actually run the programs and to help move towards preventing such things as landfill shopping for the lowest price that some of the users do. We also completed an aerial survey this year, and we'll be completing them manually of the landfill so that we can compare what we are putting in the landfill and how things are moving forward each year. And then some of the other projects that we have underway are asset management review, operational certificate and permit reviews, and leachate sampling program at the landfill currently. And then we've also listed some of the future projects that we're going to be looking at as we move forward, such as a landfill master plan, consideration of demolition, renovation, construction, material acceptance, including asbestos and disaster debris plans, leachate management plan, groundwater monitoring plan review, septic permit, and a review of the landfill's current recycling and diversion programs to see if we can find anything that could be more beneficial and additional opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. Sounds like lots of work. Any questions from council? Councilor Barco?
Just a comment that I can tell you the only comment I ever get from my fellow citizens in Summerland about the landfill is when are we going to get a second scale? I think it was discussed when we were first elected, and I optimistically told people that, yeah, they told us it was coming. There's been various holdups. Can you give us any sense of when we might get a second scale and be able to move people through faster, particularly in the spring?
Yes, thank you. Sorry, that was one of the future projects that I forgot to mention. We are actually planning on moving forward with that. We're in discussions currently with Cantex Okanagan, who has the gravel pit behind us, and working with them to come up with a beneficial plan for both of us to move forward with the installation of a scale and even possibly a more up-to-date scale house. But at this point, we're still just in the discussions and moving forward. The aim is to have it done this year.
The biggest key is that we now have this landfill manager in place so that it can come to the top of the pile, because that is, it's been in the budget for the last 2 years, maybe even 3 years, but we haven't been able to, just because it was on Mr. Stam's side of his desk. So those are the type of things that are moving forward now. So it actually will happen.
Just further to, is Cantex all on board?
They're back on board now. Mr. Johnson might speak to that, or unless, go ahead.
Yes, we've been in discussion with Cantex Okanagan already regarding the scale. As soon as I came in, it was one of the first things we started discussing, and so they've been they are on board with moving forward with the project as long as we can get it moving equally fast.
Yeah.
So that we get it in this year.
I think that the talks had fallen off for a while, and that got reported to council when they just saw that we weren't addressing it, and they just didn't see that it was going to be moving on, so now they're back on track.
Yes.
Any other discussion, comments, questions? No? Somebody want to bring the motion forward? Councillor Barkwell?
I'll move that the Summerland landfill update report dated June 7th, 2018 be received for information.
Okay, seconder. Councillor Boot, all in favor? Carried. 12.5, the auditor's report.
We'll turn that to the Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. The district's 2017 audited financial statements were presented to and approved by council at the April 9th regular meeting of council. Subsequent to council's approval, it was discovered that the statements presented were not the correct version. Upon completion of the district's audit, the correct financial statements were sent to our auditors in order for them to include their independent auditor's report as part of the final package. All of the audit work that was performed was based on the financial statements that we submitted as the district. Unfortunately, a clerical error at the audit firm resulted in the audit report being attached to the incorrect version of the district statements. So in order to rectify the situation, staff are recommending that the attached 2017 audited financial statements with the independent auditor's report dated June 11th, 2018 be accepted. Thank you.
Any questions from council? Councillor Carlson?
Other than having to pass another motion, are there any ramifications to either us or the auditor for the mistake that was made?
There are no ramifications to the district. The electronic format of the financial statements that we are required to submit by May 15th were actually submitted on our correct statements. We did not use theirs as we were unaware at that point in time that they were the wrong statements. So there are no ramifications to the district.
Thank you.
Okay. Somebody like to bring the motion forward? Councillor Boot, second. Councillor Traynor. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Okay, no new business? No. 14 bylaws. Mr. Planner?
Yes. Thank you. Oh, sorry, this one is just, this one's an adoption.
Oh, this adoption.
Yeah.
Okay, so would somebody like to bring forward 14.1 for adoption? Councillor Barkwell?
On zoning bylaw amendment 83 Prairie Valley Road bylaw number 2018-12 be adopted.
Seconder? Councillor Carlson? All in favor? Carried. 14.2, Mr. Planner.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This bylaw is regarding 8707 Tomlin Street. The bylaws under consideration would change the OCP designation to medium-density residential and rezone the property to RMD, residential medium density. Staff are recommending that council consider the feedback at the public hearing held tonight on June 11th. Should council wish to proceed with the application, the appropriate motions would be that OCP Amendment Bylaw 2018-015 be read a third time, and that zoning bylaw amendment bylaw 2018-016 be read a third time. If the bylaws receive third reading, the zoning amendment would be forwarded to the Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure for approvals and would return to council at a future date for consideration of adoption. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion?
I just have a question of the planner relating to the letter that we received this evening. In that letter, Sharman speaks of the request to reduce the distance between the proposed house and the property line. Are we at that stage yet? Because that would be a development variance permit, and that seems to be ahead of where we're at. Am I correct in understanding that?
Thank you. I should clarify that right now, we're just considering the zoning amendment bylaw. If the zoning bylaw and the OCP bylaw were passed, the next step in the approval process would be that the property owner would need to apply for a development permit, and we know that he will also apply for a development variance permit to reduce his side yard setback from 4 meters down to 1.5 meters.
But that's not what's under consideration today.
That's right. Right, so that's a little bit premature. I'm just wondering, a second question, if I might. With her request to, if the build follows through to completion, that there is some maintaining of privacy between the two properties, is that something that can be considered as we move forward? Or
You would have to have that conversation at the time that a development variance application came. It wouldn't be appropriate to talk about it when it's not on the table here.
Okay, so, sorry, I understand that. So that would be the time, once the development permit is applied, and then again, applied for, and then the development variance permit, which would have to follow that?
That's correct.
Yeah.
As the CEO noted, we do it either at the development variance permit stage or the development permit stage.
Okay, and that's when that could be brought forward. Okay, thanks.
Any other discussion? No? Somebody want to bring the motion forward? Councillor Traynor, second. Councillor Barkwell? All in favor? Carried. 14.3, Mr. Planner.
Thank you very much. The bylaws under consideration for 20201 Highway 40 would change the OCP designation of the property to agricultural and zone the property to A2, agricultural large acreage. The zoning bylaw amendment would also allow for a 15-unit campground subject to conditions outlined in a restrictive covenant. Staff are recommending that council consider the feedback at the public hearing held June 11th. Should council wish to proceed with the application, the appropriate motions would be that OCP Amendment Bylaw 2018-13 be read a third time, and Zoning Bylaw Amendment 2018-14 be read a third time. If the bylaws receive third reading, the bylaws will return to council for consideration and adoption in conjunction with the restrictive covenant being registered on the title of the subject property with the following conditions: maximum 15 campsites, operation between April 1st and October 30th, no fire pits except for one centrally located fire pit to be approved by the Summerland Fire Department. Units would be limited to RVs unless washrooms are constructed that meet interior health regulations, and no camping longer than 30 days. Thank you.
Any questions, comments? No. Somebody want?
I
Go
just
ahead.
have one
Yep.
question. I think that the answer probably is yes. Campground is the permitted use on the agricultural 2 zone?
Part of this rezoning application is to allow for the use of campground as a site-specific use for this property.
Thank you.
Somebody want to bring the motion forward?
Just
Councillor
one
Booth?
question.
Oh, go ahead.
So this is, and we have other situations where they have camping on agricultural land, but this isn't in the land reserve, is it? So that we don't think about there. Okay, I answered my own question. Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Booth, you still want to bring it forward? Yeah.
Yes.
Seconder? Councillor Traynor, all in favor? Carried. 14.5, fees and charges amendment bylaw. Who's taking this?
Thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. The proposed fees and charges amendment bylaw is being brought forward in order for the district to establish a rate structure for our automated cart collection system. The proposed bylaw also includes specific tipping fees revisions being brought forward, as it has been noted that certain diversion program rates at the landfill are not currently paying for themselves. An example of this would be The district currently charges $7.50 to take a mattress in. However, we're being charged $13.50 to actually dispose of the unit. So we are losing $6 every time a mattress is dropped off. So there are certain fees that are being recommended to be amended as well. Over the past few months, staff from numerous departments have been working collaboratively in order to bring the proposed curbside collection program rates forward. We've been cognizant of council's direction to ensure the proposed fees cover the full cost of the program. The monthly base card program fee is being proposed at $14.50 a participant. The base cart program includes one 120-liter garbage cart, one 240-liter yard waste cart, and one 240-liter recycling cart. The proposed fee is 74 cents higher than originally presented at the October 23rd, 2017 council meeting. The reason for this increase is that the 1376 rate that was discussed in October only considered the direct curbside collection contract costs associated with moving to this automated program. Additional costs such as increased tipping fees, landfill administration fees also needed to be included in the overall cost of administering this program. So these additional costs are attributed to the 74-cent difference in fees. The proposed bylaw amendment also includes upsize fees for those participants that want to move to a larger size cart. The proposed fees are moving from a 120-liter garbage to a 240-liter. It would be $9.58 a month or $115 a year. Moving from a 120-liter garbage to a 360-liter garbage, $230 a year, or $19.70 monthly. And I provide monthly fees as that's how the district currently bills our fees. And increasing from a 240-liter yard waste to a 360-liter yard waste is $35 a year, or $2.92 a month. A cart administration fee of $30 is also being proposed per property, per visit, as well as a one-time $100 fee for those participants wanting a wildlife-resistant cart, and that is strictly the cost of, the additional cost of those carts. As a final note, council has directed that as part of the cart rollout program, there's to be a 3-month trial period in order for households to determine what actual size of carts that they require, and that any change-outs during this time not be, or that additional cost not be attributed to those households. So throughout this public consultation process and during the education process, we have received better information that has given us a more accurate estimate of what the actual cost of this could be to the district. We are estimating that approximately 25% of households will request a changeout during this 3-month period. That equates to just over 1,050 households. The contractor is still going to charge the district $25 per changeout. So the additional cost, or the estimated cost to the district, is $26,000, $26,250. So the proposed cart-based fee that is being proposed at $14.50 a month does not take into account this additional cost. Currently, that additional cost is being assumed within the overall administration of the landfill. However, if council did want to incorporate that as part of the fee, it equates to 8 cents per month over the life of the contract. And as mentioned earlier, the proposed bylaw also includes specific tipping fee revisions. The district's solid waste and recycling operations manager is sitting right beside me, so if there are any questions in regards to those fees and how they're being brought forward or why, I'm sure she would be very glad to answer those questions.
I just wanted to add 2 quick things on this. I think Director of Finance might have mentioned that garbage is typically considered the same as a utility within a municipality, so that meaning that general taxation doesn't cover the cost of utilities, the revenues that you bring in covers the expenses, and if you were to pull it out of your picture, it would be standalone, and the modeling that David's just prepared that follows that theme. And secondly, did you speak to the fact that you've done the research just to see if we were comparable to other municipalities, and we're very close?
Yes, we're very, very similar. There are in some instances where we're actually below what other municipalities are charging, and in other instances where we're a couple dollars higher.
But very
So
close.
We're very, very similar.
Okay, Councilor Carlson.
I have some questions about the new fees and the new list. So there's quite a few more items on the list than there were before. My first question is, how will the district be explaining or advertising this to the general public? Because there are quite significant changes, it looks like. There's things that are allowed and that aren't allowed. And I also want to know how someone might get a permit or get approval from the District of Summerland. And would it be a license for a certain amount of time or a permanent thing? And where would that information be found?
Thank you, Councillor Carlson. Yes, so to answer your first question, as these are passed through, we will move forward with a communication program to inform the residents of the changes in the fees so that they know what to expect as they move forward. As we said, these fees are being brought forward for multiple reasons, such as to cover the diversion costs and also to prevent the landfill shopping. We are quite low on a lot of our tipping fees that are based compared to all the other regions around us. So we've been having issues with out-of-area residents coming up and placing their waste in our landfills. So that is one of the reasons that we will move forward. So there will be a communication program put out as soon as we have the past fees going through. The other question was how someone goes about applying for, I'm assuming like an exemption or a change?
It's, District of Summerland approval required for clean soil, for example, or biomedical waste. So what kind of approval and who gives it? How long is it valid for?
So currently, we do not have a policy directly written in place, but what occurs, especially like as far as the clean soil, we get a phone call, somebody from one of the local companies or a local resident will phone, ask if there is availability for bringing in clean soil that we can use as cover material within the landfill. It is verified that the soil is clean, it is coming from somewhere within our district, and then a location is chosen for it to be deposited, and they are given permission to come up, and the landfill scale house is notified that they'll be coming through and depositing a certain amount. As we move forward with these fees and these changes, some of the things that we want to do is come up with some more policies and move forward to doing better practices within the landfill. So a lot of this is in preparation of being able to get there. And that was when it was, so the same idea with, like, say, the biomedical waste. If you want to come up, at this point, you would just contact the Works and Utilities office and we would process it for you. And then you would be given a one-time permission and then move forward with that. But we will be writing a policy on how people go about doing this moving forward.
So just one more follow-up then. If someone were to show up at the landfill with a well-prepared, they've put a lot of time and energy and labor into putting their agricultural plastic and they followed all the guidelines, but they haven't got approval. Now they've shown up and they have an hour before the landfill closes. Is that something that we need to just be flexible on, or is there actually going to be quite a strict policy to make sure it's done right?
Well, at this point, it would be something that we're flexible on. We'd come check it out, make sure it was properly prepared, and then we would dispose of it accordingly. As we move forward with the policy, or as with our policies for some of these items that are controlled or prohibited waste. Those will be specified and we'll have to debate within, come up with a decision within the district as to how it's best. But typically on situations like that, if you're wanting to bring a controlled waste or a prohibited waste or something that's recyclable, but we need time to verify that it's been properly prepared, then we need proper notification. And it doesn't take long for residents and users to get used to the idea of giving us a 24 hours notice or something like that.
One more really quick.
Mm-hmm.
In order to get that approval, does it need to be a Summerland resident or business?
It
Is
needs
that-
to be coming from Summerland.
Yeah, so
properties.
you have to, there'll be some proof of
Mhm.
origin. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Trainer?
I just have a question about the 4.1.3, the cart change administration fee of $30 per visit. Does that apply if somebody wants to, for example, upsize their recyclable container or downsize, because it says no charge part of the month, oh, that's the monthly fee, I guess. Okay, so if you wanted to change out your recycling and increase, you would have to pay $30 for someone to come to your house to do that? Is that right?
Yes. So as far as that goes, the $30 change-out fee it's per visit. So first of all, you can come, you can change out 3 or just 1 at a time. But if you have multiple change-outs, that fee comes. But if it's, as far as recycling goes, there's no charge for changing out your recycling because we are encouraging recycling, and that was a decision put forward.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, so that change-out fee then, the $30 doesn't apply if you're changing your recycling?
Sorry.
I've been explaining this like 10 times a day for months. So there's 2 types of fees. There's the
Okay.
administration fee, which
Yeah.
is for that physical change out, for the staff to come and physically make the change. That applies for all change outs. Now, it's being waived until the end of December.
Okay.
Okay? Then, if you're upsizing your garbage or yard waste, there's a different type of fee, a large cart fee, that's going to be applied, and that will be applied from day 1.
Okay. And then I have one more question. Do we have any plan if residents want to get rid of their current garbage cans or they want to recycle them because they're going to have these new ones? And would we charge at the landfill for that?
Yes, we actually do have a plan in place. We are going to be creating a drop-off area at the arena for residents to drop off their used cans that they no longer will be utilizing and want, and then residents or others can come and actually collect them during this time if they have a different use or have a use they would prefer to see, so that we're not, throwing anything away that we don't have to. And then at the end of the program, we will be taking it up to the landfill. We've looked into different recycling options as to how we can deal with the plastic, metal cans moving forward. And we've also got some cans that we're going to be utilizing at the landfill and some of the other services within the district. And so that will be a month-long program that runs. It was scheduled to start for the whole of July. However, with the cart delay, we are just in debate as to when would be best to start that program now.
Council, I should note that one of the reasons that staff has the answers to all of these things is because they've really had the opportunity to talk to other communities of what worked and what didn't work, and they've spent a lot of time talking to the other communities and getting good information. So I think what we're seeing here, and a lot of times, is accumulation of best practices with the cart rollout, and I think that it's evident in them being able to answer the questions as we get them to them.
Councillor Barco?
Yeah, I guess my question is for the Director of Finance. Would it be fair to say that when we were considering the options, the CART program was a little bit more expensive, but Council voted for it, that the 74 cents additional per month that we're talking about here would have been required regardless of which program we went to, because it's for the tipping fees and such?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Anybody want to bring the motion forward? Councillor Trainer? Councillor Barkwell? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, motion carried. 14.6 is for adoption. Does anybody want to bring that forward?
I will.
Councillor Carlson?
I'll bring forward 14.6 as presented.
It's for adoption. Anybody second? Councillor Barkwell, all in favor? Carried. Okay, oh wow, look at this. Councillor
Just so
reports. So, let's start, just because I know what it's like to be the man in the middle, let's start with Councillor Barkwell.
Oh, the man in the middle. Well, I've attended the Unisys open house on the weekend because it's going to be an exciting addition to our community, and I've never been there before. And unfortunately, dormitories won't be happening yet this year, but they are beginning with their program, kindergarten to grade 6, this coming up. And nothing else of real interest.
Museum. Museum.
Well, yeah, the museum open house, they had the First World War Museum display was introduced on Friday. And if you haven't been to the museum lately, well, there's something new there to see.
Who wants to go next? Councillor Booth?
Sure. Really not too much to report. Last Wednesday, I went to Logan Lake for the first first meeting of SILGA for the new executive, and the first planning meeting for the convention for 2019 is on Thursday. Oh, and I attended RDOS last Thursday as well.
Okay, Councillor Carlson?
I don't think I have anything to report.
Okay, Councillor Trainer?
I don't have anything to report tonight.
Okay. I would just like to say on Saturday, as some of you probably know, I'm co-chair of the South Okanagan-Similkameen Local Immigration Partnership, and that's a partnership with, it's made up of different councillors and mayors from all over the South Okanagan-Similkameen, all levels of government, different service providers for immigrants, industry, immigrant groups, and it's quite a lively discussion when we all get together. There's about 50 people in the partnership, and the purpose of the local immigration partnership is to accelerate the pace of integration of immigrants into the South Okanagan and make the South Okanagan a place that immigrants want to come to. And a big part of that is getting them into employment faster. And on Saturday, we held at Okanagan College in Penticton, it was almost like a trade fair, but we brought industry and about 35 immigrants there talking about the trades and how they can get into the trades, and a lot of explanation. And it was quite a positive event. So it's there's a lot of places the trades aren't seen as a real. In a lot of countries, the trades aren't seen as a place to really have a great career, as they are in Canada with our system of certification. So it's kind of getting them to change their view on the trades, and that it is a place you can have a really good career. So that was quite positive, and that's how I spent my Saturday. Anyway. So right now we have a opportunity for the public, if they want to comment, step up and say anything. We're here to listen.
Hi, I'm Marianne McDonald. Can you clarify something? You said some for the cart rollout program. Is there a $35 fee that will be assessed on everybody as you initiate the program? Okay, what's the $35? I kind of missed that in your trying to go down the list and figure that one out.
So the $35 is specific to upsizing a yard waste cart.
Okay.
So if, as a resident, you wanted a larger yard waste cart, you would be charged $35 annually, or $2.92 monthly on your bill for that upsize.
Okay, and at the very beginning, say you want the 120 for the regular garbage, and then you want the 360, or, yeah, 360 for both the recyclables and the yard waste. Can you ask for that right at the beginning?
We have had some people asking, but I will let Tammy answer that question.
So technically, the switch-out period doesn't begin for single-family dwellings until October 1st. However, we are doing our best to accommodate switch-out requests immediately for households who've identified it simply won't work for them.
Okay.
So we're working with our hauler to get the inventory that's required. So officially, no, not until October 1st, but if you come and identify yourselves to us, then we will do our best to accommodate it ahead of time.
Okay, thank you. And this is for council in general. Last council meeting, Councillor Boot brought up about an information session for potential council candidates, and I know that you had said there is nothing in place, but I, as a member of the public, think it would be a good idea if there was at least one session where people could go and learn what council members do, and also the committees that are involved that you rely on to make decisions. For example, the Advisory Planning Committee, and also knowing about the OCP, master transportation plans that are involved, all these things. And I think that even if it was a one session or a sheet or something, I think that would be something a lot of the people in the public would either be discouraged or encouraged to do.
So just to clarify, I apologize, that must have been a misunderstanding or something that I said inadvertently, because we absolutely are planning an orientation for new potential candidates. Staff is just looking at the schedule at this point in time, and it'll be offered with a group of managers and trying to cover basically all the things that you mentioned, so for sure.
Good, okay, thank you.
And just on that, I noticed the RDUS pushed something out today about an orientation that the province had published, so there's some good information.
There is good information out there, and that's where these orientations are, that's what's pushing them here, because the provincial government's asking us to do them.
Good evening, Martin Van Alphen, 15704 Handley Street. On the landfill update, is Cantex still our gravel extractor? They still have the contract? And if only we have the one scale, how are we monitoring the tonnage leaving the municipality, and are we getting our fair share of the royalties if we're not being able to weigh them out?
Candace or Mr. Johnson? Either one of you.
Yes, hi. Yes, Cantex is currently still the gravel extractor. They have the contract with us. I'd have to double check on the amount of years, but it's a lengthy time for that. Currently, what happens, they do scale in and out, but what it does is they do scale on their way out. For most stuff, if not, it's surveyed, but what happens is it delays the residents and it delays their working also, so that's why it would be beneficial for both Cantex and the district to move forward with the second scale.
Because there's a lot of times they're hauling after hours when our landfill's closed.
On those times when they're hauling after hours, they do it on volume,
Okay.
so we do have a record of that too.
Okay, thank you so much. Excellent job, Mr. Acting Mayor.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, anyone else? Press?
I have a question regarding the power outage. You mentioned that it starts at midnight on Saturday. What's the anticipated length of the outage?
6 a.m.
6 a.m. And it's throughout the district?
Yes.
That's Sunday morning.
Hopefully it's a nice
12.
clear
Yes, I
night.
know.
12:01.
But it starts at
Yeah.
midnight.
John? Okay, motion to adjourn. Councillor Barkwell, Councillor Boot, all in favor? Carried.